Alright, so like I said, knives. Showed you this one already. This is the little folder that I carry in my EDC. Nice little knife. Perfect for just having something that you can use to cut whatever. Got another one. This is not a locker. Same kind of thing. Same company, MAM, that does the. It's from Portugal. Good little knives. Already showed you Condor Bush Lore. This is a really good bushcrafter knife, especially on a budget. You can't go wrong with that. Comes in a nice little leather sheath. I put the paracord on it just to have a grip, something to hold on to if you need to. But this goes in that same bag. This one is actually in my 72-hour bag. And actually it's there now because I don't have my BK2, my Becker, which is really my go-to knife. This is very similar in a lot of ways. Condor Rodan, I think it's called. Synthetic handles, but it's a good beefy knife. You can baton with this. You can process wood with it. Cut whatever you want with it. So this is really good. Leather case. It's very good for being out in the woods, and you got to process some wood down smaller so you can fit it in a little cook stove, a wood cook stove like the one I showed you, the little ember lit that folds down. It comes apart. You put it together. It's like a boxy thing. You put wood in top of it. Next one, another really good. This one is currently not really in a bug out bag yet. I think it's probably going to go to my son. This is the Schrade SCHF9. Good blade. Again, good processed wood with. I put the little paracord on there. It's good. Good to an interesting little case, synthetic like nylon type case. With a Kydex or plastic insert in there to keep the blade from slicing through everything. This one has this little pouch on the front. You can see that. You can open that up. Currently nothing in it, but you can put a fire steel, maybe some wet tinder or something like that to be able to start a fire with. So you got a whole little kit here, dangler. It's also Molly on the back, so you can attach it to your pack, whatever. So good little. This is a nice one. I got this for tying it to your leg when you're wearing it as a dangler. Last but not least, this is a Schrade knife. Yeah, that's a big one. This is specifically designed, it's SCHF, I think it was 43 or 42, I can't remember now off the top of my head. This was designed by a YouTuber named Chris Tanner, a channel that once I tell you about it, you're going to stop watching mine and look at his, but oh well, that's okay. It's called Prepared Mind 101. He is one of the big ones out there on YouTube, but he's great, good guy to deal with. I've emailed him occasionally and he's emailed me back. I'm sure he hasn't got tons of time, so it's usually pretty quick, a sentence or two. That's fine. I mean, it's amazing that he even has the time to deal with little guys, but he's a great guy. His stuff is fantastic. It's funny. He's really my inspiration for doing this in a lot of ways because I never thought about it before. I'm just on YouTube doing my thing, and I never thought about doing a channel. But after a while, I decided, well, I'll give it a try. Try to do a niche thing. His stuff is going to be. He's almost assuming that you already know what you're doing in a lot of ways. So you're not going to want to, it's a little bit more complex, but he does a lot of really great reviews for a lot of stuff that's really, he's a prepper. He's not a survivalist. He's not a bushcraft guy, although he does that stuff and he can do it. He's really a prepper, and he designed this. Schrade made it. My understanding is it's a very popular thing. I've used it I've used it some. It's meant specifically. You've got different ways you can hold it. You hold it up in here. See this? You can hold it up this way and do some more fine tasks. You hold it down here. You can do some chopping tasks, and you hold it down here, and you can really get some chopping done. So it's got 3 ways to hold it, and this thing is fantastic for batoning. It's so long. It's got a nice long, handle here. So when you got the wood in and you're trying to knock it through a piece of wood using another piece of wood, and I'm gonna demonstrate that at some point here once the weather decides to cooperate. And this is fantastic for that, just fantastic. So I carry this. I actually carry this almost everywhere. If I'm going up to the mountains, I'm going out to the woods, I definitely have this with me, as well as some of my other ones. Usually my Becker, I'll take a Condor too, because the smaller blades are better for fine tasks. Feather sticking, something else I can show you. Other things like that where you need to do fine work. You're not just wailing away, beating, knocking branches down and chopping, 2-foot diameter trees down, which you can do with it. But it's pretty amazing, pretty neat. He's got some other knives out. I've got another one that I didn't bring out for these because I want to do a special on that, special one on that called the Bush Bat. Just unbelievable knife, unbelievable. But you always want to have knives. You get into prepping. Like I said, you're going to get into knives. You're going to get into bags. All the other stuff, everybody has preferences. There's good stuff, bad stuff, intermediate stuff, on almost every category of thing you can get, from fire steels all the way up to sleep systems and tents, and you can get tarps that are in the $200 range. Probably never going to do that. I'll probably stick with some of the stuff I showed you. Stuff that's in the $40-50 range is probably going to be good enough for me. And of course, you'll have some people will tell you, no, you're going to die of exposure in the wilderness if you do that. I'm a prepper. I'm not. I love the I love going out in the woods. I love camping. That's something I will describe in another video. But I don't anymore worry about that. I've got a cabin, so that's where I go. And I'm not gonna. I'm getting up there in age. I'm 10 years from retirement, a little bit less. And once I retire, going to the mountains, and I'll be living there full time. Even bugging out won't be something I'll really be worried about, because that's where I would be bugging out too. I'll already be there. Hopefully, if the world, the zombie apocalypse and end of the world, if that can wait about 10 years, I'm golden. So, but anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for looking again. Like, subscribe. Let people know if you like the channel, if you like some of the stuff you're seeing here. As soon as this weather clears up in the next week or two, I will get some videos out there that have some real meaning, and then I'll start showing you. There's a lot of things. For instance, a real quick thing, and I don't have one right now because mine rotted through. I've had it for so long. Learning how to build a fire in adverse conditions is probably the #1 skill you'll ever need if you actually have to, take care of yourself in the woods. You got to know how to start a fire. You can have matches, but if you don't really know what you're doing, and you don't know how to use a fire steel, and you don't know how to do some of this stuff, you're in trouble. You're seriously in trouble. So what you want to do is you go to the Walmart, probably has them. I don't know if you're allowed to say these. Oh well, sorry. Wally World, the orange big box home store, the blue big box home store. You probably know what I'm talking about. One begins with an L, one begins with an H. They have these, especially this time of year. We're in September now. You can find these. They're it's a big, basically a giant pan on legs, more or less, probably screen top on it, that you can build a little fire for, like out on your porch for. Bingo. They're not that expensive. You can live in the middle of an urban, jungle, and you can have one of those. If you have an outdoor space you can actually use it in, They're considered contained. So generally, I mean, you have to check your local, codes and stuff and laws and make absolutely sure that you could use one of those. But if you can, it's a perfect way to learn. I mean, you can walk around the neighborhood. There's trees even in the middle of New York City. There's trees on the sidewalks. There's in the park. There's trees, and there's gonna be dead wood laying around on the deck, on the ground. Just go pick some of it up, break it up, make a little, and learn how to use a fire steel. Learn how to use wet tinder. You learn how to use tinder, and another real quick thing for you, dryer lint. One of the greatest things you can have, put it in a plastic bag, keep it dry. That stuff goes up, poosh. It's just nothing but fine cotton fibers, generally speaking, and nylon fibers. The stuff goes up great. I use it all the time to start little fires around the house. If I'm doing stuff, I've done little stoves outside. I mean, and that's the other thing you can do. You get one of your little stoves, you set it up outside, and you boil water in it and make some tea or some instant coffee. Why would I do that? So that you know how to, and you can do it in a situation where you need to do it. And oh geez, now what do I do? Well, there you go. You can do that kind of stuff. So those little pan things, the little fire things that you can get, they're great. I got to get another one. I had one for about 4 or 5 years that I used for that stuff. The other thing it's great for, I'm in a little bit more suburban situation, so it's not quite as bad. You don't have to worry as much. You get the little branches coming off the trees all year long. So I pile them up in a little place in the yard, and then in the wintertime, fall, winter, it starts to get cool. We go out to the porch. I burn that stuff up. I'm getting rid of it. I don't have to take it to the landfill, and pay to have it disposed of. I just do it right there. So it's a great little thing, little tip there. Great thing and a great way to learn, get a fire steel, and learn how to make little fires. To start with little twigs and then slowly build it up until you got a nice little fire going. You can put fairly good sized pieces of wood on it. You got a fire. Now, hey, I can make fire. Quest for fire, I can do it. So there you go, guys. All right, thanks a lot. Like, subscribe, look at the more, open it up. There's all kinds of resources in there. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.